Good morning. Hello. Welcome back, everyone. This is Charles Coleman, the team leader of Keller Williams Avenues Realty. And today I have with me.
Kristyn Haster, and I'm an agent in the office.
Awesome. So, hey, I super appreciate you jumping on the call with us today. And if you don't mind, let everyone know when you became a licensed real estate agent.
So I became licensed back in February of 22. So just a few months ago.
Yes, at the time of this recording, we're in July right now, so we are just a few months back at this point. So, what did you do prior to getting your real estate license?
So prior to getting my license, I was an online weight loss and confidence coach. So I helped women lose weight and just feel better about themselves.
Awesome. So you've always pretty much held a consultant role for the most part, then.
Yes. Yeah.
Aw- Awesome. And then when you decided to get into real estate, what made you choose to partner with the KW brokerage?
Well, I've heard so many good things. Two of my friends are actually agents in the
Mhm.
office, and prior to becoming licensed, they just talked very highly of Keller Williams.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing that made me go with Keller Williams is the support.
Hmm.
Um, I looked into several other different brokerages, and I ultimately landed on Keller Williams because I think that's such a huge part in just becoming very knowledgeable about
Hmm.
real estate, and then relaying that information onto
Yeah.
future clients. So,
No, that's huge, right? And so, obviously doing your research is very important. And I think that a lot of the reasons why agents do choose KW, besides from the training, is definitely the people. It's the culture. And I'm glad that you actually had people in your corner that were like, this is where you belong, and you felt comfortable enough to join the brokerage because of them.
yeah, yeah,
Awesome. Well, the big reason for you being on the call today is that you just had your first closing. So, congratulations.
yeah. Thank you.
If you don't mind letting us know, where did you find this client?
So I actually found this client. It was a referral to me from
Mhm.
another agent in the office. So
That's awesome. So, you're saying that the very first piece of business, you've built up relationships, and another agent actually referred you over the business.
yeah, yeah. And actually, that was like one of the biggest pieces of advice that I got from other agents is
Mhm.
that, you shouldn't look at other agents as your enemy or your competition or whatever,
Yeah.
and that you should befriend them. And I have several friends actually that are real estate agents, and they were like, no, like a lot of my business comes from other agents and that kind of thing. So I think
Yeah.
sometimes that can be overlooked. And I think it's just important to build those relationships with other agents.
Absolutely. When you start thinking about that, I think it's hugely important to be able to build up those relationships, because there is so much business for all of us, and we all help each other level up and grow. So I love hearing that.
Yeah.
What Through that transaction, what was your biggest obstacle that you faced?
So the biggest obstacle I
Mhm.
faced, well, there was a couple. So I had a client who basically he didn't know where he wanted to live.
Mhm.
He gave me a wide range, all the way up from Fort Collins down to Colorado Springs.
Wow.
And so I had to work with him on narrowing down exactly what he wanted and that kind of
Mhm.
thing. And then once we actually got his house under contract, we had an appraisal gap, and he ended up having to come to the closing table with some cash. And he was at first unhappy about that because, I don't think he was expecting that to happen.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of a shock.
Mhm.
But then, just talking him through it, and that kind of thing, it ended up well, and he's happy.
Mhm.
And so, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's interesting, right? When you start thinking about, for those that are familiar with the area, that is a very, very long stretch of cities to go from. We're pretty much, I mean, for for lack of a better term. I mean, we're pretty much from one end of Colorado to the other end.
Yeah.
And the second piece is the market that we are kind of getting out of was savagely unhealthy, to where we were having to do some very creative things to get our clients under contract in that appraisal gap that you were just talking about. But being the real estate economist of choice and walking them through the benefits and obviously the cons as well to get them past the finish line. So congratulations being able to do that with the first transaction.
Yeah, thank you.
What was the biggest win for this transaction?
I think it was just getting this house under contract. I mean, it was, we looked at several houses, and I know the competition was, pretty intense at the time. And so we just submitted one offer and it stuck. So I feel
Yeah.
like that was a good win.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things that you also didn't hear about this this environment of bidding that we were in, is that yeah, you had to do some other things, and you were the first, and well, maybe not the first offer, but you were the first offer that got accepted, right? Which we don't typically hear at the same time. So that's also a
Yeah.
huge win.
Yeah,
What
thank you.
Yeah, you are welcome. What did the support look like from the brokerage during this transaction?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. Obviously, what you learn in school is far different than real life. And so
Yeah.
I felt like once I actually got a client, I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do
Hmm.
now?
Yeah.
And I have a coach, Margaret,
Hmm.
in the office, and she was fantastic. Just I could call her at any time, um, email her with any questions, and she was there every step of the way. And also, I leaned on a lot of other agents as well, in the office, just for support in different aspects. And I reached out to other agents that have, had buyers before, and what did you do in this situation? Just ask for
Hmm.
advice and that kind of thing. So it was huge. I mean,
Yeah. No, I
yeah,
like being able to hear stories like that, right? And I think coaching is important, and being able to have that person that is either standing behind you, in front of you, or beside you through the transaction that you can lean on, as well as there are so many agents in the brokerage that have a lot of experience, and being able just to pick up the phone and either, whether it's a text message or voice to voice, and being like, hey, I'm experiencing this. Would you mind giving me advice? And the answer for the most part is always yes, unless it's a, can I give you a call back in a couple of minutes? I'm kind of busy right now. Right.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
love being able to hear that you were to be able to experience that as well, being able to go through many different people to kind of build upon this transaction.
Yeah.
So, having your first transaction under your belt in only a few months of being a licensed real estate agent, what advice would you have for someone that is struggling to get their career launched, or who is just starting in this industry?
Well, what I started doing like shortly after I got my license
Mhm.
is I started attending a lot of like seminars and stuff put on by like top real estate agents. And
Mhm.
then a lot of them I found I would just email them or call them and be like, hey, can we set up a time to go to coffee or something like that? And I would just pick their brains and ask as many questions as possible. Like,
Mhm.
if you were starting today, what would you do,
Yeah.
differently, or what advice did you have, that kind of thing. And then networking has been really huge, just reaching out and trying to meet as many people as possible. um,
Mhm.
it was kind of slow at first, but now I feel like now a few months in, it's starting to pay off. So
Yeah. Well, I think that a lot of the things in this business are time on task over time. And the fact that we're in a shifting market, and you're saying that I'm trying to be a student of the industry and make sure that I'm talking to as many people that are productive and that are actually producing in this current environment that we're in, so that you can actually learn from it and figure out
mhm,
what their wins were, their opportunities, what they suggest, and then be able to implement it into your own
right.
business. That is huge. Not every agent looks at it that way. So I want to commend you on taking that step and giving that advice to the newer agents and the struggling agents.
Yeah, thank you.
You're
Yes.
welcome. Well, hey, I super appreciate you jumping on the call with us today, and congratulations again on your closing. And I am so excited to see what the rest of 2022 and further has for your real estate career.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Hey, you're welcome.